New on Daybreak, as anglers head to the lakes this weekend for the Minnesota Fishing Opener, looking to land a big one, there are some questions about what the warmest winter on record could mean for their chances.
So I spoke with some experts from the University of Minnesota and the DNR about what anglers can prepare for this season.
I think we can expect pretty good fishing, especially for our walleye and sauger.
That is certainly the hope, and while catching fish is never any guarantee, Nick Schlesser with the Minnesota DNR says heading into this year's fishing season, there's even more uncertainty.
That's unusual. We haven't really gone through this system or situation before.
This winter was pretty unprecedented in terms of how short it was, how mild it was, the lack of snow.
Gretchen Hansen is an assistant professor of fisheries ecology at the University of Minnesota. She studies how climate change affects lakes and fish.
It can be hard to predict the responses of ecosystems to conditions we've never seen before, but we can use information we have on how winter conditions affect fish.
That's where Dr. William Herb comes in. He's a research associate at the University of Minnesota St. Anthony Falls Lab.
I've done some work on how climate change affects habitat for cold water fish like trout.
He highlighted the potential impact of the early ice out to the trout population, which normally prefer cooler water.
So that can stress the trout. Maybe they won't grow as well. Maybe they won't reproduce as well.
Schlesser also mentions how gizzard shad, which typically die in the winter, may now have survived.
If the gizzard shad survive, it's very possible that the walleyes, especially the larger ones, are still going to be eating larger bait fish than what the anglers are anticipating. So larger baits might be more beneficial to anglers.
What would your advice be for anglers as we're kind of starting to navigate the unusual winter heading into spring here then?
Be willing to try things that you might not have expected. You might be a little bit farther along in the progression than what you expect based on the time of the year.
While this winter may seem like a one-off, Dr. Herb points out data from the Minnesota DNR that shows ice cover periods on Minnesota lakes are getting shorter.
In my mind, that trend is more worrisome than just having one warm winter. It's, if we start having repeated warm winters, I think that's going to be tough on the fish population.
Which could leave the art of catching even more up to chance. The DNR wants to remind boaters to be careful of any debris in the lakes as well.